This daf Yerushalmi Orlah in the article Oz V'Hara Dishma Daf Lamed Alf Halacha Ches, which in the Vilna is Tav Tes Vav Amud Beis. Also Halacha Ches by the Mishnah. Mishnah here evidently contains two Mishnahs, Mishnah Dal and Mishnah Tes Vav. Okay, so Mishnah says, "Orshel Truma Shel Kilei HaKerem Shlofu Toch Isa." You have a store of Truma and Kilei HaKerem which fell into a dough. Lo Bezek Chametz, Lo Bezek Chametz. Neither of them had enough to be mechametz, but together they're mechametz. Beat starve chimutzo, so they joined together and mechametz. Also lazarim, muta kwanim. It's also lazarim. It defaults to basically down to the lowest common denominator between the two. So sor of shel truma is also to zarim. Sor shel kerem is also zarim and to kwanim. The gametes so it defaults down to the iser, which is in common. It's lazarim. So the mitzdarif chimutza also zorim mutal kwanim. Rabbi Shimon is zorim kohanim. Rabbi Shimon follows his line of reasoning, which is known for us from elsewhere. I think we had it already. In halacha hey, that shnei shemesh l'yitzurim are not mitzdarif l'isser. So since each one didn't have enough to be mechametz, stamish like chachamim, we don't follow the achron, which is either one not enough to be mechametz. The whole thing is mutter, so therefore it's mutter zor kohanim. Okay, a similar thing. Tavlin shel truma shel kilei kerem. Now a spice of truma kilei kerem shel v'tokater v'lo be'elkei tavel v'lo be'elkei tavel. The one is enough to make it to spice it up. They start for tivlu and they join together and they spice it up. Also zor mutter kohanim. Again, defaults down to the certain common, which is it's the kohanim, but it's mutter also the zorim. Sorry, but it's mutter kohanim. Rabbi Shimon Matil Zor Kohanim. Rabbi Shimon again holds that we don't say Shnei Shemes Mitzdarfin, so therefore it's mutter both the Zor and Kohanim. Okay, so now the Gemara says Social Truma v'Shel Shvius Shel V'Toch Isa. If Truma and Shvius. So this is Shvius after Zman Biurs. So it's also no did Biur Chametz on this, and they were joined together in Mechametz Isa. So again, you have Truma and Shvius. Well, the Zekdei Chametz, they start with Chimutzu, and they join together and Mechametz. So it's just like our Mishnah. The common denominator here is Shvius is also after Biur, both the Kohanim and Zorim. Truma is only also to Zorim. The common denominator is Zorim. So then it's also Zorim, Mutzu Kohanim. And Rabbi Shimon, she tells us that the two Yisrim don't mitzdarif, Mat is Zorim and the Kohanim. It's mother of both. However, if you have social Truma and Shvius fell into an Isa of Chulin, and each one has enough mechametz, and they join together and mechametz, it's usher, both the Zorim and the Kohanim. So even the Kohanim, because the Shvius by itself had enough mechametz. Right? I read inside. It's also for Zorim and for Kohanim. Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon disagrees. He says, Matir, now we're going to go with the Rafulda and the Gross Gersa of Leib Yerushalayim's Gersa. Matir l'Kohanim v'osel l'Zorim. He's in this case where you had the in each one, he's matir for Kohanim. He asks the Zorim. So Gemara is going to try to understand why this should be the case. Right now, we don't know why. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Avo Amar Rabbi Yochanan Boy. Rabbi Avo said Rabbi Yochanan asked, since each one has Bokadei Chametz, right? Ma min Shvius Eitzo Kohanim. Sorry, my Shvius. I skipped. Sorry, but ma bein Truma Eitzo Zorim, ma bein Shvius Eitzo Kohanim. But Truma Zorim, but vis-a-vis Zorim and Shvius vis-a-vis Kohanim. Truma Eitzo Zorim Asura, Shvius Eitzo Kohanim Muteres. Truma is also for Zorim and Shvius mutter for Kohanim. With Kohanim, but no other Shvius. So why should it be mutter to a Kohanim if there's enough Shvius in it to Kidei Chametz? It's the obvious question. So Rabbi Yochanan came back and he said, I'll tell you. Tipater should nafal social truma tchila. We're talking about the sword of Truma fell first. So the Truma fell first. Below Bashvis Elivkom. And the taste of Shvis only is nice in time of Gam. In other words, when the Truma fell and had enough to be to make to cause the dough to rise, so then it was nice in time of Shvach, that Asr. Afterwards, the Shvis comes in and makes the dough ferment more. It's nice in time of Gam. So, Elazar Shimon is going the Shita of his father, which we saw early in the parak. The nice in time of Gam is Mutzer. And therefore it's Mutzer the Kohanim, because it's for the Truma. It's the problem for Zorim, but not for Kohanim. So it's with the Kohanim, also Zorim. That's what it says. Rabbi Elazar Gemara actually says Rabbi Elazar Shem Shita Saviv. Rabbi Elazar Shem follows the sheet of his father. Ma b'shita Saviv. What does it mean the sheet of his father? Gemara Rabbi Shimon Amar Nosi Tamim V'Gam Mutar. Rabbi Elazar Shimon Amar Nosi Tamim V'Gam Mutar. That's the answer here, because when the Shvius falls in, it's Nosi Tamim V'Gam. The Gemara gives a different possibility of a Mahalach and understanding Rabbi Elazar Shimon. Rabbi Amari said, Ma b'shita Saviv. What does b'shita Saviv? A different shita. Come on, Shimon calls Fichim Mutarim. Shimon knows wild growth during Shemitah is mutar. So Chachamim also wild growth during Shemitah of cultivated plants, because you might come to say, it's not cultivated. The Midah did cultivate it, so because of that issue, so therefore they answered Tzvichim. So Shimon also didn't answer Tzvichim. So there says, so therefore the Shvius here is really not a problem. That's why it's also Zorim Mutzer Kohanim, because the Shvius issue is not a real issue. According to Rabbi Elazar Shimon. He holds like his father. Chacham holds there. He says Tzvichim. He holds this, and it's Tzvichim. Says more again. Kama Maushis Vali. Kama Rabbi Shimon Markos Tzvichim Mutarim. Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon Markos Tzvichim Mutarim. Okay. Says more. Kuma Rabbi Shimon Tzvicha Yerek. Rabbi Shimon said about the wild growth of vegetables. Didn't Tzvicha is one. They say wild growth of seeds, which includes produce. Includes grain. So here it's grain. Grain includes Tzvicha Yisroim. So therefore, Rabbi Shimon was not matir Tzvicha Yisroim. So Gemara says v'kamas that he added. It's a strange term. V'kamas usually means rose up, but I guess rose up means here added. He Rabbi Elazar Shimon added to heter of his father, because he took it further. His father said only svichei of vegetables and mutter. V'kamas who svichei kamas, he raised it a notch. Who svichei yerek, who svichei zraim. That they're both mutter during Shvius. Okay, so therefore, that's why he was matir over here, Elazar Shimon, for Kohanim and Aser for Zorim. Rabban the Gitzon have a slightly different take on this. Rabban the Gitzon have Achaz Pshitas Ovi V'Achaz Pshitas Chachamim. Elazar Shimon holds one thing like his Chachamim, one thing is like father, one thing like Chachamim. Now, according to him, his case is slightly different. This is according to Grod and Chaz Nation, according to Yerushalmi. The case where they fell in B'Bas Achas. The Truma and not like we're saying until now, they fell in B'Zar Chazeh. They fell in B'Bas Achas, which when they brought down the case, it really didn't say in the case itself whether it's Zar Chazeh or B'Bas Achas. So could be Pshat is B'Bas Achas. So the Truma and Shvius originally started when they started the process. They're both Nosei Tam L'Shvach. Later, they're both going to be Nosei Tam L'Gam. Originally, they're Mashbiach together, and then they're Pogim. Okay? So, at the time they're Mashbiach, I'm going to say it's outside and then say it inside. The time they're Mashbiach together, that, the Rosh Hashem disagrees with his father. His father said, in his sermon Starfin, he holds his sermon Starfin. So, therefore, the Truma and Shvius are Mitzarif. And therefore, they Aser Lazorim. Not for Kohanim, because for Kohanim it's not Isser. When later on, the Shvius it fully is Machmitz, in other words, because it Yesh Bo K'dei Chametz, but that time it's the time of Gam. So in that respect, he does all right like his father. That is the time of Gam is Mutzer. So that's what it says here. So by the time the Shvi takes full effect, it's being nursed in time of Gam, and therefore that's not an issue. Therefore, at the beginning of the process, but still nice in time of Shvach, then both the Shemus are Mitzaref, and they default down to the common denominator, which is also Lazarim, Mutzah Kohanim, because Truma is Mutzah for Kohanim. Okay, halacha test. Chaticha shel kachi kachi mishel pigul v'shel noiser. You have a carbon chatos or asham, which is also the zorim, and that's, well, the first case. Kachi kachim is chatos or asham, which is also the zorim and mutakwanim. That's one case. Or chatichas basar shel pigul. In other words, you had in mind at the time you did one of the four avodas to eat it mechutz zmano chutzim kamo, or shel noiser. A piece which is left over, the carbon was left overnight, too long, so then becomes nosar. She's bashim with chatichos, which was cooked with other pieces, with chulin. So actually these all together. Sorry, chatichos shekachim shel pikos shenoisar in a mixture that got together, cooked together with chatichos with other pieces. Also Lazarim, Umutzah Kohanim. It's a similar case, right? Also Lazarim, because the three Surim which are Mitzvah are all also Lazarim, but it's Mutzah Kohanim because the third is actually first one, the Kachi Kachim is Mutzah to them. So, and it would not have been a shear to Aser without all three. So therefore, they do Mar Mitzvah, but the lowest common denominator, which is this Lazarim, not the Kohanim. So it's okay for the Kohanim. Rabbi Shimon L'Shitaso holds Mati Lazarim LeKohanim, because he holds the Shnayim Shlosh Shemos are not mitzaref. So therefore, they're not mitzaref, and it remains mutzah even for Zarim. Basa Kachi Kachim, Basa Kachi Kalim, she's Bashim Basa Taiva. You have meat of Kachi Kachim, Chatas Rosham, and meat of Kachim Kalim, meat of Shlamim. Which are Basa Kachi Kachim is only mutter to Kohanim, and Kachi Kalim is mutter to also Zarim. So he's bashli in Basa Taiva, which got mixed up with and cooked with Basa Chulin. Also L'Tmeim, it's also V'Tametate or mutter L'Tairim. Now, which is interesting because it's very different. So even Chachamim, of course, Shimon we understand. So Pasha because in Islam starving, but it's also for Tmeim obviously because it's a carbon. Now, if you're telling me now it's a carbon, but it's mutter for Tahirim, even the Chachamim, because since the Kachim themselves don't have enough to give a time in the meat, and Kachim are mutter Lazarim, so therefore in this case Chachamim are Meko. I guess it's kind of obvious because since Kachi Kalim are with Lazarim, so it's nothing to be mitzaref to Aser, right? It's mitzaref to Aser, but basically what it's saying is that, caught me off guard there for a minute. Basically what it's saying is that, yeah, it defaults down to the lowest Isser. What's the lowest Isser? With Maim. That's the lowest Isser, which is the common. Between Basar Kachi Kachi and Basar Kachi, and Basar Kachi and Basar Kachi Kalim. It's mutter the Zarim. Kachi what's the default Isser between the two of them? It's a little bit Maim. Okay. Now that's the Mishnah ends on Lamed Beis Amrav, so we'll stop here for today.